Hey guys, and welcome to or back to the Paws in Pursuit podcast with your host, Summer Clark. So today we have a very exciting conversation. I will be speaking to Arrow's breeder of the Tufty Head Working Cocker Spaniels, Sophie Macbeth. This was a very highly requested episode from you guys, was for me to speak to a agility dog breeder basically. And obviously I thought of Sophie first. So she answers all of your questions. I asked you guys a few weeks ago, I think now, on Instagram, and we had loads. We had 18 questions, and I'm going to be talking to her today. But before we get into that conversation, let me do a weekly roundup. I know you guys like it when I do that. What has happened since last Wednesday? So Tuesday and Wednesday, I was judging at Dog Sports Derby. I think if I remember rightly, I told you guys I was filming in advance because I have a really busy week. But yeah, obviously my first day course was Monday. Then Tuesday and Wednesday was Dog Sports Derby. They went really well. I did have to come up with 2 courses spontaneously because I was covering someone else and I didn't realise I needed to do those courses too. I thought I'd got all my courses sorted. So thanks to Laura Chudley for helping me make those on the spot. But they all ran really nicely and I was really happy with that. The 1 to 3 dogs did struggle a little bit with the weave entry. I think I made it too fast of an entry to it, if that makes sense. So I might avoid doing that in the future for the lower grades. But overall, really happy with it. Thursday was a normal day. Friday, I had obviously college as usual, doing my dog grooming. I think I'm on week 8 now already, which is crazy. A quarter of a way through the level 2, which is insane. Even though the full thing with the level 3 doesn't finish till April 2025, I think, which is really kind of funny. Anyway, and then Saturday, Sunday was Derbyshire. Saturday I was competing with Arrow, obviously, and he did amazing. He won the medium 18-24 YKC Jumping Cup. Absolutely smashed that. He also won 6-7 agility, grade 7 agility. Obviously it was a graded class, and that was against some phenomenal dogs, and I just can't believe it still. And then the medium ABC, he just slipped. It was very windy and it was up a hill, and he just slipped off the right of the bottom of the dog walk, and he got 5 for that, which was really unfortunate. But he had the fastest time by a second in the medium ABC, again against some phenomenal fast dogs. I'm choking already. It's not good, is it? And then what else did, and then we went clear in pairs with Millie and Jess. So me and Arrow went clear. We put in our clear for that, and I think that is everything. Yeah, I think it is. But amazing weekend. And then Sunday, obviously, I was judging. Again, my 6-7 jumping was literally brilliant. It ran perfectly. I was so happy with that. And then I had to completely change my Discover Dogs Mini Mixie Pairs course on the spot because of a miscommunication where I had the wrong rules and how it worked somehow. So now knowing the actual rules, and having that communication there at the show, I managed to make a completely new course within like maybe a couple of minutes, and it actually ran really well. I'm really pleased with that. Had plenty of double clears, but it was also nice and technical. And obviously, you know, I thought, well, it is a qualified Discover Dogs. It doesn't want to be too easy that everyone can do it, you know. But no, I was really happy with how both of my courses went. And then obviously it's only Tuesday now as I'm recording this. I am batch recording a load of episodes over the next week or so because obviously I'm going away to KCI Dogs in Need, so I want to get those episodes sorted so I can upload them and schedule them so that you guys have an episode every Wednesday. Because like I said in the previous episode about, I think it was the last one, about how to start a podcast and stuff like that on social media, consistency is key. Now I would just like to take a minute to introduce you guys to the podcast sponsor, Huel. So here I have one of the ready to drink Huel meals, the berry flavour. Huel ready to drink is a meal in a bottle with over 20 grams of protein. It really is the perfect meal for when you are on the go. You don't need to sacrifice convenience or nutrition, you can have both with ready to drink. Each serving has 26 vitamins and minerals. This means every bottle of ready to drink has 175 health benefits. It is made from natural ingredients such as coconut, sunflower seeds, tapioca, pea protein, flax seeds and hemp seed protein. Every meal is vegan and it has no gluten, no palm oil, no GMO, no lactose and no animal products whatsoever. It comes in 8 delicious flavours including iced coffee caramel and strawberries and cream, as well as the classics like vanilla, chocolate and banana. It is absolutely delicious and just tastes like a milkshake. It is widely sold in supermarkets, petrol stations and corner shops around the UK, and it can be conveniently purchased online. I found out about Huel because I was looking for a product that would give me all the nutrients that I need while travelling to events and staying over at competitions and training events. So when it's time to refuel and have a meal, I can just drink a ready to drink Huel product and get all my nutrients quickly, easily and without cooking. It's perfect when I don't have the time or the facilities to cook. For example, when I'm camping at a competition, I'm going to be drinking at least one a day at KCI and Dogs in Need. If you're super busy, just like me, then you really don't want to miss out. You can easily and conveniently shop ready to drink from Huel at the link uk.huel.com/paws. I hugely appreciate anyone and everyone that uses my link, as it helps keep this podcast running, and every sale through that link helps keep my podcast going. Buying through my link also gets you a free t-shirt which will be auto applied at the checkout. If you subscribe to a Huel order, you can save 10%. You can choose how often your subscription comes, for example every 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, etc. And these are super easy to manage on the website and you can edit whenever you like. uk.huel.com/paws. And without further ado, I will let us get straight into the conversation. For anyone who doesn't know who you are, although I'm sure everyone does, just give a brief introduction.
Oh, right. You want me to give a brief introduction myself?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So I have been doing agility for, far longer than I care to mention. I think I started, that gives away my age, doesn't it? I started in the 90s, mid-90s. I think my first real success, I used to run collies mostly.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the 1999 Cross Team Final, which we won.
Amazing.
And in those days, that was the only event that was televised. So we were on national television. So it goes back to the way. Yeah, I know. It's amazing, isn't it? And it's the videos. I haven't got the video anymore. I can't find it. It's hilarious.
I was going to say, is it on YouTube? But YouTube probably wasn't a thing then, was
it? No. Social media wasn't what it is now. And it was, and Peter Purvis was the commentator.
Oh, yeah.
So that's going back a long way. But it was just a completely different sport. I mean, I don't think you can compare agility now to what it was then, because it was all handling on one side. You didn't have directionals. I remember the first time someone actually commanded their dog to go left and it did, everyone went, oh,
yeah. Oh my God, it's gone off by itself.
Yeah, and the jumps were a different height. Yeah. It was just different. Now it's much more technical. You've got to train it. And then you used to train once a week.
Yeah.
So I had collies then.
Mm-hmm.
So I went. I was lucky enough. I went to crafts. I also used to do mini maxi pairs because you only had 2 heights.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
Big and small. You didn't get mini maxi, and you just chose which height you wanted to jump in. I mean, you just can't even believe that. So that was that 90s, and I used to compete then. And then I had a big break from agility for about 8 years. I had a life change. I got divorced. So I won't go into that because that's really boring. It's got nothing to do with agility. And when I came back, I was like, I missed it. And I got back to agility again. And that was in the 2000s. And then I still had one of the dogs from before, but he was obviously quite a lot older.
Yeah.
And so I got another dog and I got a collie. And I had a little red collie called Jinx, and she was fabulous. And I had collies right up until I got chemo, which was 8 or 9 years ago. And I had 3 collies. And the bottom line was I had 2 that were injured. I had 1 that could work, and I wanted another dog to work. And I couldn't fit another collie in the back of the car. And it really is that simple.
Yeah. Is that why you chose a spaniel?
It is.
A little dog.
Really, why did you start with spaniels? And I said I couldn't fit another collie in the back of the car. I'm like, really? But my husband wanted a Springer, and I'm like, no, I'm not getting a Springer, but we'll get a Cocker. My next door neighbour. And Kima came from my next door neighbour, and I knew nothing about Cockers. I just thought they'd be a bit of fun.
Yes.
And when I got her, I just thought she'd be a bit of fun. So she's been far more than that.
Yes, absolutely.
She totally has exceeded all my expectations. And the fault she has is because I probably didn't train her as well as I should have done. I think nowadays we understand about foundations.
Yes,
and, the foundation was the root of everything.
Yeah.
And her contacts aren't as great as they should be, but, she's won me a ticket.
Oh, yeah, and brilliant.
And I then decided she was such a cracking little dog. And so many people said to me, oh, are you going to breed? That I decided to breed from her. And that's kind of how I got into breeding.
Yeah.
So, as you know, I've had 2 litters from her.
And now look at all the tufty heads.
Yeah, and all my and so now, instead of having 3 collies and a cocker, I've got 3 cockers and a collie. Because I've still got my original collies and I've got 3 cockers. So, I think, going back to what is my favourite breed, I love collies and I love cockers. And I think the common thing is they're working dogs. So
I was going to say that was the first question. I thought you'd say spaniels, but then I forget that you had the collies as well. So I'm like, what would you pick between the 2? But
well, I don't know. To be honest with you, probably I'll put the cockers. And the reason why is they're such happy dogs.
Yes, absolutely
I love
agreed.
Collie, but the collies can be quite tragic.
Yeah,
they're quite complicated. I think that they're so clever. And whereas the cockers are just always happy. You can't be miserable with a cocker around.
That is so true.
You can be pissed off with the cocker because they don't calm down. But
you can be pissed off, but they won't be.
No, they won't. Happy, but they are a bit crazy. And I think they're the perfect combination. So I quite like having both in my pack. And there are a few. Actually, I think there's a lady who breeds the Hilly Anthems, Nicole Turner. She has collies and cockers. There are quite a few people who have both dogs.
I was going to say, I feel like they go together, kind of. They're like the big and small version of each other in a way, aren't they, in agility?
They are, and their temperament-wise is quite different. Yeah. And the one thing they have in common is they do need work.
Yes, 100%.
And I think, going back to, probably referring back to the breeding, if somebody wants one of my cockers, and if they're not going to do agility, they need to do something.
Yeah.
I don't care what, but they need work.
I cannot imagine Arrow without doing something. He would go up the wall and beyond.
Yeah, and it's not fair on them. No. I mean, I think the best way of describing it is if you get a cocker and you don't work it, it becomes self-employed. Yeah. And then it decides what its job is, and you have no idea what that's going to be.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it, actually. It will work, just in their own way.
It will choose its own thing. Yeah. It will go, I'll go, it needs to be told what to do, and that makes it happy, and then it switches off. I've got all my cockers in the room with me at the moment. They're all snoozing because we've been out for a walk.
Yeah, that's it.
If I tried to do this conversation first thing in the morning, you'd have boing, boing, boing going on. Like at all. So, yeah.
Which is fair enough.
Yeah. So that, both my favourite breeds begin with a C.
Yes, collies and cockers. So what traits should a buyer look for in a future agility puppy? So not really breed specific, just if they're looking to get a puppy to raise for agility. So as a breeder, what would you say to that?
For me, I think temperament is the most important thing. Because you never know when you get an agility dog whether it's going to like agility.
Exactly,
You can't tell 100%.
Or the speed or anything.
No, you can't. You can do all your research and you can go and choose a litter where historically they're all great agility dogs and you make the one that doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
So I think you need to pick a dog that you like.
Yes.
And that you want to live with.
I was going to say, and, think of it more as a pet first and then as a bonus, the agility.
My dogs are pets that I do agility with.
Yeah, exactly.
So if for any reason they didn't like agility, I would still like them. I think some people, who start with other breeds, decide to get collie because they think it's going to be the fastest thing in the world. But they don't like collies for whatever reason. Yeah. Then if that collie doesn't end up being an agility dog, they're still they don't like.
Yeah.
So, I think temperament is absolutely key. And I think...
you need one that suits your lifestyle, don't you, at the end of the day?
And you've got to look into the lifestyle. I mean, some people love their dogs and then they get a collie to do agility, but they don't like collies. Yeah. I think choose a dog you like and choose a dog that does something for you.
Yes, yeah.
That when you see it, you like it. Because that is your friend and it's going to be with you for, I don't know, my last collie lived till 60 for 16 and a half years.
Oh, wow. That's a lot. That's good for a big dog, isn't it?
She went last year and I adored Jinx, and I had to retire Jinx at 7 years old. She had got injured at 5. We worked a long time on the rehab. Long short of it, she retired at 7. I had that dog for 7-8 years not doing agility. Yeah. That would have been awful if I didn't like her.
Yeah. No, that's not fair on either of you, really, would it be?
Well, I think that's probably the most important thing. Yeah, look for something you like, something you're going to enjoy having fun with. and then the agility will come.
Yeah. And I suppose with temperament as well, like some people might prefer like really highly strung dogs, and then other people prefer calmer dogs. So, you know, regardless of agility.
Yeah, and actually within that, I think there's cockers and cockers. You know, I don't think my cockers are bonkers. I think they're high drive and but they're not insane.
Yeah.
Some cockers are insane. Some
Definitely.
people I always thought, I'd love a cocker for agility, but I couldn't live with one. You know, because you and I know cockers are very needy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And some people don't want a needy dog. Collies aren't needy. I mean, in the evenings, my collie's usually quiet in the corner. My cockers are pretty much on my head.
Yeah, exactly the same with the terriers versus Arrow.
Yeah.
And like I can get up from the sofa and the terriers won't even wake up, but Arrow's there next to me and he'll follow me around. Yeah. But I love that about him. Do you know what I mean? Like I like that in a dog, but I guess that might wind some people up. So.
Yeah, you see, and I've never owned a terrier, so I couldn't speak about terriers because I don't know the breed. I don't understand. I did think once of getting something that would do, because I've got rabbits in my garden. Oh, yeah. And someone said to me, well, the problem is if you get a Dachshund or a terrier, they're going to escape from the garden, whereas none of my dogs do.
100%.
So I think, it's important to think something what you live, what your lifestyle is, and what you want to live with, and then do agility with it, rather than I want to win agility. I'll get one of these, and you find it doesn't suit you.
Yeah, because you can't guarantee that just because it's a agility breed that it's going to win everything, can you? So
you certainly can't.
Definitely not. Really yeah, it's not a given. Not a given.
No, there's a load of people who've got dogs that they want to do agility with who just. They don't always turn out that way,
Yeah, nothing you can do about that.
No.
So, what traits do you look for in a stud? So, the dad when you're breeding from a
right. Okay. That's a big question.
It is.
I think health and temperament have got to be first.
Yes.
I think health and temperament have got to be first. I'd never want to use a stud dog that had a bad temperament.
Yes.
I'm not sure about the inheritance of temperament. The jury's out on that one, but I wouldn't want to take that risk. And I've been really lucky that all my dogs have got nice temperaments.
Yes,
and
true.
When I went to see the stud dog, the fact that it was a nice, gentle dog who was very affectionate and loving and all of that, that was really, really important.
Yeah.
I think health testing. Genetic health testing. I'm not talking about hips and elbows and stuff. I'm talking about, the genetics. You've got to, which actually is one of the questions you asked about, which was health tests.
Yeah.
And I think the problem, I know about the health tests for cockers. They're different in different breeds.
Oh,
different
I see. Okay.
Different health issues. Cockers, there are 3 key health tests you have to do. One is AMS, one is FN, and one is PRA. Now, I can go into that, but you're probably not that interested. But if you're going to breed, you look up on the Kennel Club thing and you check what are the health tests for your dog.
Yeah.
So you want to your stud dog is health tested. So I think there's the health test, there's the temperament structure for me is very important. So, for example, with Iggy, because she's quite leggy and Arrow's quite leggy, when I looked at stud for them, I looked for a dog that was quite chunky.
Yes.
Because I didn't want to produce a giraffe.
Yeah, no, that's true, yeah. Got to have the contrast, I guess.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure. So if you're putting 2 together, what does your dog look like and what does the other dog look like?
Yeah.
Because we'll get a combination of the 2. With Kima, it was the opposite. Kima was quite a solid dog.
Yeah, stockier.
And I think that the danger with the cockers is everyone's obsessed about height. And I get that because we all want our dogs to either be small or medium, and borderline dogs are a nightmare.
Yeah.
So, but if you overbreed for small, you could end up breeding a hippo.
Yeah.
You could end up with something with little stumpy legs.
Yeah.
So I think
that's true.
You've got to go health, temperament, and structure, and that depends on what your dog looks like and what you are looking for to breed. So with Iggy, I put her to something chunky, and ironically, she's actually my only dog that I got, because as you know, I got a singleton, which is another story.
Yeah.
He's ended up, I think, with a lovely structure.
Yeah, I do. I think he's beautiful.
Yeah. He's got legs.
Yeah.
He's quite athletic. So he got that from Iggy. But if I'd got another long-legged dog, he could have had too much leg.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Have you ever come across a working cocker spaniel that's gone into intermediate because it's been that tall? Because I don't think I have.
I haven't yet. I think you can get big working cockers.
Yeah.
But they don't tend to be in agility. When I'm out walking, I've met cockers and I thought, blimey, there's a big difference in the breed.
Oh, okay.
There
Yeah.
are some big working cockers. There's some really solid big working cockers.
Yeah.
If you look back into their lines and you check their genetics, they've probably got Sprocker in there or something else in there.
Yeah, I was going to say Springers are bigger, aren't they?
Yes, they are. They are. But tendency, most of the working cockers, I think, would hit into small or medium.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that's why you never know, though. You've got to look right the way back and see what came behind the one that you chose.
Yeah.
So not just the one you choose, it's what did their parents look like and what did their parents look like.
I bet that takes quite a lot of research as well, like going back and back and back. Yeah.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
And finding a stud dog it's quite hard to get something that ticks all the boxes. And then, of course, last but not least, you might have a preference for a colour.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah, but
you can't guarantee that either, I suppose.
I mean, in my first litter, they were all black, and then in my second litter, I had 2 roans, a black and white, 2 blacks, and a chocolate.
Yeah,
which was black.
I mean, Arrow, where the black and white, do you know what I mean? That was never expected. I mean, obviously, I'm obsessed with his colouring, but you definitely couldn't have expected that.
His dad was black and white.
Yeah,
so that was
true.
I didn't know whether the stud dog would carry it. Cockers, there's a lot of variation in colour. None of so, but in terms of what you look for, to me, although colours are nice to have, it would be my first choice.
No, definitely not.
More important for me.
Yeah, no, me too, definitely. And obviously, Buddy, he's what's it classed as? Lemon roan, is it?
Yeah. So interesting. My least favourite colour for Cocker Spaniels is lemon roan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, don't tell him that.
Exactly. I don't know why. Now I love it because I've got one.
Yeah, no, that's true.
If I look back into the genetics, I thought I was going to get roan.
Yeah.
I was hoping I was going to get dark roan. When he came out, he was almost white, and I thought he was flipping ugly. But as you know from the roans, they start off. When Iggy was born, she looked like a Frisian cow. She was black and white.
Yeah.
And the roan got darker and darker and darker. Yeah. Now she almost looks black.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Yeah. And then Arrow just stayed like that.
And Buddy, lemon roan is right back in his pedigree. But it just came out.
It still happened, yeah.
And I didn't have a choice because I only had the one.
Yeah.
So, and now I love him. But, who knew?
Yeah, exactly. There is no way to know, is there? Again, another thing you can't put first, definitely not.
Well, that's why, yeah. But as I think, that if you're looking for a stud dog, you want it health tested and you want temperament first.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think a lot of answers to these questions are probably temperament as very important. Yeah. So what health test do you require studs to have? So just briefly go over those. You said 3 for a Cocker Spaniel, didn't you?
Yeah, so there's 3 key ones. I've made some notes on these. There's one which is called AMS, which is acral mutilation syndrome.
Okay.
And these are all genetic tests. They're not structural tests. And it's where the dog actually starts to literally eat its own paws.
Oh.
I mean, it's horrible.
Oh, God, okay.
Yeah. The other one is FN, which is familial nephropathy.
Okay.
No one actually... But that's a neurologic. That's I think it's to do with the kidneys. So that's another one. And then PRA, which is progressive renal atrophy, which is an eye test.
Oh yeah.
Those are the 3 ones for cockers. And then every year you have another eye test, which you're supposed to do. In fact, most people do. You do every year because it can develop later in life. And you go and you have your dog's eyes tested. But as I said, if you look on the Kennel Club site, those are the 3 for cockers. I think when you're looking for collies, for example, you'd be looking to check there's no epilepsy in the lines because that's one collies really worry about. They're different for all the breeds, but those are the cockers.
I was going to say it really depends on the breed, doesn't it, really? But
and then the other one that a lot of people are getting quite obsessed about now is hip scores and elbow scores.
Yeah. I've heard a lot about those.
And that's a really interesting one because dysplasia is you've got to... I don't want to get into a massive debate about this. Yeah. There's different opinions. I think a hip score is a good indication of whether your dog has good hip scores, but most of the working cockers are not hip scored.
Okay.
Because the old style working cocker owners who've got their dogs, the working trials dogs,
Yeah.
they feel that if dogs are out working, then they've got good hips.
Yeah.
A lot of, and which is fair point.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there's a lot to be said that actually dysplasia is not necessarily inherited. It can happen in the womb.
Oh,
so
okay.
Dogs are all crammed in the womb, then it might be
pushes it out of place. Yeah.
It can happen during birth.
Mm-hmm.
It can happen when they're puppies. If they're brought up on slippy floors, they can slip and put their hips out.
Yes,
there's
true.
a lot of ways that dogs can get dysplasia other than the genetic component is very, very small.
Yeah.
As I know, and also with cockers, patellas are an issue.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They have luxating patellas, but quite a few dogs who have luxating patellas go on to be absolutely fine.
Yeah.
As long as you do the right physio. I had some luxating patellas in some of my girls when they were born, and it's more common in girls because it's hormonal.
Yeah.
It can happen because you do too much with them when they're young. So that's really, really complicated.
Yeah. And Ethel had one when she was younger, a slight one, and they grade them, don't they? And hers was like the lowest possible grade, but it had sometimes caused to like shake her leg out or whatever. But it disappeared with, some exercises and stuff like that. So she didn't, and she went on to do all sorts in agility and not have any issues until I retired her, so.
It's a really difficult one. I mean, as I said, with the girls, it's more common in girls. And the main thing is don't overdo it with your puppies.
Yes, 100%.
Don't try and make them do complicated stuff while they're too young. Wait till they're properly formed before you ask twisty-turny stuff, because Iggy's only showed at about 6 or 7 months.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But that's why it's absolutely critical with puppies that you don't have them on slippery floors. You don't try and do too much stuff with them that involves them until they're a bit more formed, because actually it's not something that you can find through research. It's one of those things quite often.
That's why we put all the mats down in the kitchen before we got Arrow, so he wouldn't be sliding around.
You do not want them sliding around the house. You really don't. You really don't want them doing that. So the health tests are the genetic ones. You have to have those ones done, and the other ones are nice to have, and they're no guarantees, unfortunately.
Yeah. So the 3, you would need the 3 to be done on a stud, but then the others not like you don't need them done, but if they've got them, it's a bonus.
Yeah, increasingly, a lot of the cocker breeders, I must admit, if I was to use Buddy at stud, I would get his hip test.
Yeah.
But the stud dog I used for him was a field trials champion. I went to the Lake District. He comes from really good lines. He didn't have a hip score, and I still used him.
Yeah.
Because
if he's doing all that as well, then
But I think there's nothing wrong with hip scoring. It's an added bonus, but it's not. And I think with the collies, everybody has a hip score now.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Can't really talk about other breeds. I can only talk about what I know.
Yeah. It's more common in collies though, isn't it? Issues with hips than spaniels.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. But I don't breed collies, so I wouldn't
you don't really know. Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
Please.
So you were talking about genetics as opposed to structure, but if you were thinking structurally, what makes the perfect breeding pair, in your opinion? So they're more asking about the male and the female structurally. You've already covered a little bit, haven't you?
It depends what you've got as to what you do. I think you've got to. I think sometimes, like crazy, we can get too obsessed in agility about wanting a fast dog.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
We can get obsessed about wanting the fastest dog, and you can see a dog that's crazy and fast.
Yeah.
And you put another dog that's crazy and fast,
and it's insane.
I was going to say, you might insane, off your tits, uncontrollable.
Yeah. Psychopath.
It's always about complementary.
Yeah.
So look what you've got and look what you need to put with that to balance it. Yeah. Rather than going to two extremes.
Yeah.
That's personal opinion. Kima as a cocker she's quite a thinky cocker. She's not batshit crazy.
Yeah.
She's not the fastest cocker in the world. That being said, she won me a ticket. And I think she might have won me some more had we not had COVID and I bred 2 litters from her. You know,
100%.
Not saying she would have done, but she might have done. She's always been up.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's always at times. So when I looked for a stud dog for her, I thought I could afford to put a bit more crazy into her.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't crazy. She was quite thoughtful. If she'd been batshit crazy, I might have looked for something a bit more thoughtful.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I think if you go to breeding, look at what you've got and look what would work with it. And don't get over obsessed about, I want the fastest collie or the fastest cocker or the fastest this.
Yeah.
Because that make the best agility dog, in my opinion.
Yeah. And structurally, same thing with structurally, like you said, you know, leggy one, maybe don't go for another really leggy one and stuff like that.
We'll get a giraffe.
Yes.
You know, and if you've got a small cocker, be careful about putting it with another tiny cocker because you'll get a little hippo.
Yeah.
And I know of some cocker lines that the cockers are just now so small that they're not going to breed from it because it, you know, and also if you look at cockers, they were bred to work. They were bred to carry pheasants.
Yeah.
If you go too small, that's not really a cocker spaniel.
No, they need to be athletic, don't they?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think cockers, but that's my personal opinion. You know, I think it's really. I think you want to keep. To me, I think you want to keep a bit true to your breed type.
Yeah. No, definitely, 100%. So, how important is it that multiple dogs in a future agility puppy's pedigree do agility, and at what level? So again, that's going back to how far back in the pedigree, you know, family tree, stuff like that.
I don't think other dogs in the pedigree doing agility has any relevance at all.
Yes, no, true.
Yeah. I think the only relevance it might have is if you've got dogs in the pedigree that do agility, you can go, oh, well, like, okay, you could look at my tufty headline and think, oh, well, that's not bad. There's a couple who've got tickets. They can do agility. But you could look at another line of cockers who haven't got, but they could be just, they might just not have gone to good handlers.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's true, yeah.
The reason my dogs have done quite well is they've gone to nice homes and good handlers.
Yeah.
So that's meant that they, and handlers that suited them.
Yes.
I mean, Fanny and Sander are amazing.
Absolutely.
But Fanny's not necessarily the easiest dog on the planet.
Oh, no,
she's quite, but Sander knows how to work her and she's got a lot of drive. She might have gone for another handler who might not have managed with her.
Yeah.
So I think if you look at, and also when you look at some of the collie lines that go to really good handlers, and they think people, that's an amazing line. You think, yeah, but it's gone to good handlers.
Yeah, yeah. I think people forget that it's like agility is 50-50. Like it's only half the dog. You know, the rest of it is the handler. Do you know what I mean?
Partnership.
Yeah.
It's not how the handlers are. It's how well they've trained them.
Yes. Yeah.
You know,
100%.
I mean, I remember going to a camp the other day and I met someone, it was her first agility dog, and she was flipping amazing. And I was like, that's your first agility dog?
Yeah.
And she was, yeah. And I'm like, holy shit, that's amazing. I said, who did you train with? And she said, Shannon Spring. And I went,
okay, yeah. And then not just the handler, but the trainer.
So her dog had amazing skills because Shannon trains skills.
Yeah.
You know, one can argue, Summer, that, you know, you trained with Lucy. Lucy has trained you to be a good handler.
Yeah.
You know, you took on Arrow. You were going to a good trainer as well.
Yeah. All the things aligned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think the question is, so although it's an indication of how your dog could turn out, you reckon it could be the best agility dog.
Yeah.
You know, you could get a dog from lines that have gone to average handlers and it could be the best agility dog. It's just never, those lines have never gone to it. So it's not as good an indication, I think, as whether it's got working lines in it. You know, agility is, you know, luck of the drawers. As you say, it's the dog, the handler, and the training.
Yeah.
All three together. That's what makes an agility dog.
Yeah. So instead of looking back on the pedigree and thinking, oh, have these dogs done agility, and you know, how well have they done it? It's more about looking back at, you know, the structure, the temperament, stuff like that in the family tree instead.
A lot of the good working cockers, some of them come from working lines. They've got no ability in their lines. Yeah. But they just working ability. Going back to why I chose this dog, Beerville Nugget. Now, he's a field trials champion. Now, field trials champion, working cocker, you have to have focus because they sit on the peg.
Yeah.
They wait. You have to have focus. So you know that the lines that go into that dog have got a temperament where it's not going to go crazy. It's going to be focused. I wanted that.
Yeah.
You know, I want that ability to do what it's told.
Yeah.
Agility line. I have no idea. You know, none of the dogs do agility.
And obviously agility's completely nurtured, like that. You can't have a genetic agility dog, if that makes sense. Like, it's just something you do with your dog. Like, that's not in the, you know, makeup of the dog.
You can look for working ability, and you can look for structure. So you can look at a dog that you think, well, that's gonna be able to jump well.
Yeah.
But you can look for temperament, but the fact they do agility is the luck of the draw.
Yeah. No, I agree. So how important... Oh, yeah, so we've pretty much already covered this one. So how important do you think genetics of dogs further up the family tree are when breeding puppies for agility? So you said quite important.
No, I think genetics... I think the genetics is important rather than the agility ability.
Yeah.
So look at the lines, look at what they look like, look at the structure, look at the temperament, look at the characteristics. Mm-hmm. That stuff's important. So you do the research around the genetics and the lines, not around whether they do agility or not.
Okay, so you definitely should look back quite a bit. How back? How far back would you look?
It's really hard, isn't it? Because you can't always tell.
No, that's it.
Always tell. You know, there aren't that many generations. I mean, I think they're probably, I mean, cockers have not been popular in agility until recently.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like you used to get more of a mixture, did you?
Yeah.
Like more of a mixture of breeds, and now it's mainly sort of similar.
Cockers now, a lot. A lot. I mean, it's also, if you look at, let's say, look at a different breed, you look at the Labradors. If you want to have a Labrador, and I think there's some amazing Labradors in agility.
Yeah, absolutely.
Working lines.
Yes.
And working lines as opposed to show lines. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't do it with a show Labrador because they're quite chunky. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I'm trying to remember the name of that girl who does agility with her black lab, who won Olympia. Joanne Nash.
Oh, yes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
A fantastic Labrador.
Yeah, but it's so athletic and fit, isn't it?
But if you look at, so she might have gone and had a look at the working lab lines and look at the lines, look at the structure of those dogs. And thought, I'll have those lines because I want to do agility. So in that respect, you can do it. But she can't have gone and said, I want a lab that does agility, because there aren't that many that do.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah.
So I think, look at the structure, look at the lines, look at the temperament, but don't look at the agility, because that's a... Who knows?
And I suppose it's the same for cockers. Like, obviously, there's the working ones, and then there's the show ones. You would choose a working one instead of a show one if you were going to do agility with it. So it's the same principle.
It is, absolutely. And I think now that there are more we're getting to the stage where people are breeding. There are more generations of cockers.
Yeah.
So if you're a cocker, you could go out there and look at cockers you like, for example. And let's say, I mean, I've had people come to me who've seen Arrow, and I've heard Harrow's tufty head. You know, are you breeding any more tufty heads? Because they like Harrow. So that's a good indication, you know. Or people who might be fanny, and then or they might go and look at one of the other lines, like the helianthemums, and they might the duende cockers. Most of them, they're different from mine.
Yes, that's true.
Personally, I prefer my line. Well, I would do because I bred them.
Yeah, as you should.
I've got nothing against the other lines. They're just not my, you know, I think when you're looking for, look for a dog that you like.
Yeah, it all boils down to that, really, doesn't it?
Look for a dog that you like. You know, like you go out and you see a dog doing, you think, oh, I love that dog. And then ask, who bred that dog? And if you can't find, you know, if they're not going to breed again, do you know anybody else who's got similar lines or brothers or whatever? Yeah. That's a way of finding dogs that you like.
Because even like across different sort of lines, they can be sort of distantly related. Do you know what I mean? I feel like there's kind of a lot of crossover anyway within working breeds.
Well, it's like we all have Devonshire cockers, right? Well, the Devonshire cockers have got a lot of the Mysoderwin line in them. Mysoderwin is the working cocker line.
Yeah.
My dog's got Mysoderwin in them as well.
Yeah, that's it.
Be quite pretty. I think a lot of the Devonshires are pretty. I'm not going to get into whether that's a nice breed or not, but I mean, they are pretty cockers.
Yeah.
So if you like the look of that dog, there are probably other breeders who've got that line in their cockers.
Yeah, that's it.
So that look back on the research of the line that they've got that need to form that dog. That can give you an indication.
Yeah. It's all about research, really, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, it is. And questions.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
don't be someone who you go, I mean, I'm often going to shows and I see a cocker I like and I go, I love your cock. Where did you get it from? Because I'm always thinking about maybe future breeding and thinking, what am I going to put? I mean, there's another line out there. There's a dog called Argyle Warrior, and I love him, and he's not my dog. So when I'm looking to put something else into my dogs, I might look at Argyle Warrior into my cockers because I like competition.
But another thing as well, like if you don't just like the dog for what it is, then you're probably not going to do that well in agility with it anyway, because you're not going to have that like strong bond with it, if that makes sense.
You've got to love the cocker. You've got to love the dog. I happen to love cocker puppies, but not everybody does.
Yeah. That's
everybody's safe.
Yeah. So, to what extent does the Kennel Club breed standard matter when breeding puppies for agility?
Well,
so when I think of the Kennel Club breed standard, I think more of like the showing side of things. Do you know what I mean? Like how they're meant to be.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. The Kennel Club breed standards have absolutely no relevance to agility. Because the Kennel Club is all about breed, and there's a lot of bloody good crossbreeds.
Yeah, that was another thing I was going to say about how, you know, people, even rescue dogs, people get like these random crosses that are rescues and they're brilliant. Do you get what I mean?
Well, exactly. I mean, we all know that the next best thing in small is going to be the collie paps.
Yes, yeah.
Although, you know, that's quite interesting because if you cross a dog, when you then take that cross and put it with another cross, you don't know what you're going to get.
No, random.
No, you just have no idea. But that has no bearing on a breed standard.
Yeah,
because, you know, you crossbreed. So, yeah, I'm not sure of the relevance of Kennel Club to agility, to be fair.
Yeah.
Kennel Club without breed, you know, I'm not a massive fan of the breed standards because, you know, they advocate, also, they haven't really clamped down enough on things that have actually made breeds not work very well.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
I feel like it's more about aesthetics and what it looks like than anything, like with the showing and like because I'm obviously doing the grooming now, that's a big part of the course as well, is looking at what it's meant to look like and obviously grooming it to that so it looks like that. So whereas agility is not really about what it looks like at all, is it? So I think that's the difference.
That's what I love about it.
Yeah.
It's not what you look like, it's how you can perform.
Yeah.
And you can get some random dog. I mean, there's a lady called Dawn Weaver who's very well known in agility.
Oh, yes.
She always breeds crossbreeds.
Yeah. Yeah, collie paps, isn't it?
All the dogs. And she's got a tiny little dog out there at the moment called Chipmunk. I don't know whether you've seen it.
Yes, I have, yeah.
Tiny little dog. Stunning. I'm not sure. I think it's got pap in it. It's got poo. It's got all sorts of stuff.
Poodle crosses are another one that are quite popular.
Yeah, you see, and I'm not a massive fan of poodles. I'm not anything wrong with them, but I'm not a massive fan. So I wouldn't.
Preference.
And we kind of come to the conclusion that actually, the most important thing is about, you know, performance and structure and temperament, and breed standard hasn't got a huge amount of relevance to it in that context.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. So the next question is, how do you match owners to your puppies, and do you think breeders should background check potential owners?
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Say that.
The question is thrilling.
Yeah.
I think there's nothing more important when breeding than making sure that your puppies go to good homes.
Yes, 100%.
Nothing more important than that. I mean, my puppies are my babies, you know, and it's interesting. I've come on here to chat as a breeder. I don't really think of myself as a breeder because I'm not a commercial breeder.
Yes, that's true.
I breed because I love my dog and I want a dog for my next dog, and I don't breed a lot of litters.
Yeah.
Which enables me to put a lot of effort into my puppies.
Yes, that's true.
There's a big difference between buying a puppy of someone like me, and there are other people that breed maybe 1 litter or 2 litters every few years to keep their line going, and people who breed lots of puppies.
Yes, yeah, that is very true.
And they're different, and I'm not going to be disrespectful of anyone who breeds lots of puppies. I would just say if someone breeds a lot of puppies, they're not going to have as much time to put as much effort into their litters.
Yeah.
Like I would. Because for me, it's a full-time job.
Yeah.
You know, when I decide to have a litter, I put a lot of work into choosing the stud dog, running around the countryside, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not, other breeders don't do as well. I'm not the only person who does that. And then making sure that those puppies have the best possible start in life they can have. And for that reason, because I put so much work into them, I also put a lot of work into finding the right homes.
Yeah.
If somebody wants one of my puppies, I will do a lot of research to make sure that they're as good a home as I could possibly find.
Yeah, and we'll suit it as well.
Yeah, so I think the most important thing for me is I will ask lots of questions. You know, does this person do? Do they go to work? Is the puppy going to be able to be looked after during its early years? You know, if they do go to work, what arrangements are they going to make for the puppy while? You know, I've got to be realistic. You know, people have to work for a living, and there's nothing wrong with somebody working, having a puppy, but then have they got care sorted out? You know, all that stuff.
Yeah.
For me, it's also important to kind of work out, and you can only do this by asking questions. What would happen if the dog doesn't do agility?
Yeah, if you're back to the job again, giving it a job.
When you have a line where the dogs are agility dogs, what would worry me is somebody's buying one of your puppies because they want to win.
Yeah, no, that's true.
You know, you want the right combination of somebody who would like to be competitive, but also will love their dog as a pet first and foremost.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't end up being the best agility dog, they're still going to love it.
Yeah.
Or it ends up getting injured, they're still going to love it.
100%.
Or not being as perfect as they want it to be, they're still going to love it. So I think the only way you can do your best to do that is to ask questions and then make.
I mean, you send the questionnaire, don't you?
I do.
Yes.
I do. Yeah. It is a bit of an exam, isn't it, getting one of my puppies?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I remember I sent one to you, but also I then find 2 referees and ask about, I asked about you because I didn't know you.
Yeah.
So I found out about Lucy recommended you. So that counted massively for me.
Yeah.
The fact that someone you trained with recommended you counted massively for me. In my first litter, I mean, Abby Doxford, I knew her personally. She had Misfits. I knew Sarah and Sander. Sarah Whitehead, I didn't know, but she used to train with Dave Munnings.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I asked Dave Munnings about her.
That's a good idea for getting references as well, because I suppose, you know, owners can put what they want on the questionnaire. Do you get what I mean? If they want the puppy. So getting that opinion from other people of high regard as well is a really good idea.
Everybody who had one of the puppies from all of my litters, I always asked them to give me a reference, and I would get in touch with people who knew them because they could say what they like. But what's important to me is, you know, we all know cockers are very sensitive.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
So if you're really competitive, or what is really competitive, you can ruin that dog.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If you have a disappointment, or you get upset with it, or it doesn't, you know. I know that Arrow's not been the easiest dog. He's amazing.
He couldn't have been more sensitive.
Exactly. Yeah. But I knew that you were with Lucy, and that Lucy knew how to deal with that. So even if you didn't, she would be able to have helped you, because it might be your first cocker.
Yeah, no, that's it, yeah.
I mean, that's one of the other things for me is, have you had a cocker before? Do you understand what cockers are like?
And obviously I'd had the opposite in the terriers. So for me, it was just about doing a ton of research, you know, talking to other people who'd had them and watching them and stuff like that.
But, you know, you might, if I hadn't been comfortable that it was your first cocker, but you have done your research, then I think, I'm not sure. You know, it's really hard finding good homes.
Yeah,
it's really hard.
And I bet you're worried to make the wrong. Obviously, you don't want to make the wrong decision for that, and then, you know, further down the line, see that dog, you know, not living its best life or whatever, and then you'd be like, oh, I shouldn't have given it to that owner.
I think pretty much I haven't been 100% lucky with all my homes, but I've done pretty well.
Yeah.
And it's because I've asked a lot of questions. And I, you know, met the people, and I talked to people who train them and everything like that. That's really hard to do if you breed a lot of dogs.
Yeah. You can't put as much time into each home, can you, if you have loads?
But then, you know, as I said, there are other breeders like me. I'm not a typical breeder. I don't know if there is a typical breeder, but I think if you have the time, I mean, I had somebody who wanted one of my dogs who lives in Australia.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, exactly, because she liked the lions. And she's a fantastic home. She used to live over here, and she's a lovely, lovely person. But I didn't want to put my dog on a flight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, that's true.
I'm really, really sorry. And she was just like, look, you'll keep in touch with them and we'll do Facebook. And I said, look, I don't breed that many pups. I don't want mine to have to go, because that's my little baby I didn't want that to happen.
Yeah.
She would have been a fantastic home. There was nothing wrong with her.
Yeah.
So personally, none of my dogs have gone abroad, and I have had some requests. That's thing. I think the more you breed, the more relaxed you have to be about that criteria.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you can't really afford not to be if you breed loads, can you? No, or you'll end up keeping them all.
No, exactly. Well, yeah, there is that. My husband wanted to keep the whole of the first litter. But
I'd be terrible. I'd be so sad seeing them go. But I suppose as well that, you know, I don't know about all your litters, but most of them going to agility homes, you can keep in touch and still see them, I suppose, which is nice.
That's the real bonus. Yeah. I mean, in fact, it's one of the sadnesses of the second litter is because we had COVID, I didn't get to see them that much.
Oh, God, I bet you saw them as really little. And then, like, after COVID, they were, like, huge and adults.
But I don't have the same relationship with them.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. If I walk across the field and Fanny and Misfit smell me, they drag their owners across to see me. Oh,
wow, yeah.
I don't know whether you know that Sandra was once running Fanny in Champ, and she ran out the Champ ring to see me.
I did not know that.
Oh, God, it was so embarrassing.
Wow. That's kind of an honour.
Yeah, well, it is, but it's because I get very involved with my pups, but B, I always like to see them grow up. So because I kept that relationship going in the first year, they all remember me. Yeah. And I love that.
Oh, that is lovely, yeah.
Yeah, it is lovely. Whereas I think, unfortunately, the second litter, because I didn't have that relationship with them. I mean, Arrow is lovely to me, but I'm not sure if he remembers me in the same way.
Yeah.
And it's with BB and even Violet, we just didn't have that connection because suddenly, I mean, we all had COVID pups, didn't we?
Yes, yeah, that was the whole litter, yeah.
It was completely different. But yeah, it's I think for me, that connection with the pups and that involvement, it's one of the questions you asked me. It's one of the things I absolutely love about breeding.
Yeah, that's so true.
I love the fact that, you know, one of my pups lives around the corner. It's the only one that didn't go to a working home.
Okay.
And it's because they're my neighbours.
Yeah,
We live, and I know they're a really good home. And Luca lives literally around the corner. I quite often take her out for a walk. Sometimes you might see on the Tufty Head site, she climbs trees. She's bonkers.
Oh, wow.
She probably would be less bonkers if she did agility. Yeah. Because she's looking for a job and she's chosen tree climbing as her job. Going back to our own. It's lovely to have that connection with the pups. Yeah. And so I quite like my owners.
And you want to be friends with them, don't you? Especially if you're going to keep in contact with them.
Yeah, and it's horrible. It's not always possible, you know, because life changes. But it's the ideal for me. It's the ideal to actually see them at a show and be able to have the pups get involved and keep in touch.
Yeah, so, and I suppose, like anything, there's you know, you can only do your best. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not always going to work out perfectly for every dog, but and I suppose as long as you know you've done everything you can to do your best to send it to a good home, then that's all you can do.
Yeah, I think that was one of the questions you asked me about, you know, about the first 8 weeks, and I think I put a lot of work into my puppies in the first 8 weeks. They are my life for that weeks.
Full-time job for 8 weeks.
Yeah, they have, and I've done a lot of research into what needs to be done. Yeah. And actually now an amazing resource out there called Puppy Culture.
Okay.
Which is run by this woman in the States who bred, and literally it's what you should be doing with your puppies at 8 weeks. And it's all the stuff I knew already, which is to do the ball pits, it's socialization. It's when you say socialization, it's not just about getting them to meet other people and other dogs. It's also about getting them to see experiences.
Yeah.
Experiences like the Hoover, like all the banging that, you know, my dogs are pretty, and I've also got the CD that makes all these noises and stuff. So, because when they leave me at 8 weeks to be the best they can possibly be.
Yeah, and confident.
I even took them on a camp.
Oh, wow. You know, yeah.
I always make sure they have a car ride.
Mm-hmm.
I do, because actually, if you do research into what the development of puppies, it's so critical. That 8-week period is so critical that if you out some stuff there's all things to do with fear periods, that if they don't experience stuff at the right time, they can be fearful of them. There's so much that goes on.
Yeah.
And in fact, Buddy, because he was a singleton, I was totally paranoid because he wasn't going to have any brothers and sisters.
Yeah, that's true.
So I was really worried that he would be. So I managed to find my next door neighbours breed Dachshunds. So I'm really lucky. So I borrowed some 4-week-old Dachshund puppies.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Good timing.
Yeah, exactly. So I think all that stuff is really, really important.
Yeah.
And I think, if you're looking to breed, you have to ask yourself, do you have that time to put the effort?
And be realistic.
And if you're looking to buy from a breeder, does your breeder do that stuff?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, half of it as well is choosing a breeder, isn't it? Not just the breeder choosing owners.
I think it's really important choosing the right breeder.
Yeah.
I really do. I think the breeder is almost as important as the breed.
Yeah.
That's a personal opinion.
No, I'd agree,
I mean, I still think you can get a really good dog that hasn't necessarily had all that stuff.
Yeah, but it definitely helps.
It's another element.
Yeah.
It really helps if your puppy is well socialized.
Yeah.
It really helps if your puppy is really well adjusted.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff, and it's if you look into puppy culture, and they've done loads of research, the behavioural issues, the resource guarding, all that stuff, it all starts from that age.
Yes.
And the breeder can do so much in making sure that dog doesn't have an issue.
Yeah, I mean, even after the first 8 weeks, obviously, before Arrow could go on the ground, I bought him, you probably saw pictures at the time, a sling. So I carried him everywhere I went in a little sling. Do you remember that? Yeah. And I suppose it's just about them seeing every normal thing that they'll have to do in life. Do you know what I mean?
Getting used to stuff. So that, I mean, the only area where my puppies haven't been great, my personal puppies, is small children, because I don't have any small children.
Yeah, that's true.
I've had to borrow small children.
Yeah.
So, can you come round and meet my puppy? Because otherwise you've got puppies that are terrified of small kids.
Yeah. I mean, I remember Lucy brought Brody, who was quite young at the time, round to meet Arrow pretty soon after we'd got him. Do you know what I mean? Because we're the same, don't really have any small children in the family. So we were like, oh, who can we recruit? So that was quite helpful.
Well, the only other way you can do it is go and hang around school gates.
Yes, true.
On small children and say, "Come and see my puppy."
Yeah.
But all that stuff is that's the first 8 weeks, and there's the car rides. If you don't do car rides with them when they're young, and the other thing is, I always make sure that my puppies go out with all their siblings in a car ride, because then when they're all together, they have this kind of herd where they go, "Oh well, if my brother's okay, then I'm okay. If mum's there, then I'm okay." So they get used to a car when they've got all that comfort. So when they're doing it on their own, they're like, well, it was okay when I was with mum and all the... So
it'll be fun now,
You can have a puppy that's frightened of cars. So ask your breeder if you're going to buy. What are you going to do with my pup in the first 8 weeks?
Yeah, that's true.
You need to interview your breeder nicely, as well as they need to interview you, because you it's really important.
I think people forget about that and miss that bit out, which can be quite detrimental.
Yeah.
So how do you decide which puppy to keep from the litter? Obviously, it was quite easy with Buddy, wasn't it? Because Buddy was Buddy.
I had a choice.
Yeah.
So with Buddy, I didn't have a choice. I wanted a small, dark bitch.
Yeah.
And I got a big, blonde boy. And to be brutally honest with you, I was disappointed.
Yeah.
It's not what I wanted. But because I don't breed to sell, I breed to keep, there was something in me that felt it would be wrong to not keep him and to get something else instead.
Yeah.
And also, I'm really glad I kept him. He's fabulous. So I'm not disappointed. With the other puppies, obviously, it was interesting. When I bred my first litter, the reason I didn't keep one was because I already had 2 young dogs. I had my collie and I had Kima, who was still young, and I didn't need another dog. Because I had the reason I bred Kima and I didn't keep one was because when I started doing research into breeding, which I hadn't done before, I realised that you need to breed from a dog when it's fairly young.
Yes, yeah.
You don't have your first litter from an old dog.
Yeah.
And Kima at that age was 4, and I was like, oh, I better hurry up.
Yeah.
Because So because I had 4 good homes and I had 4 puppies, I let them all go, and it was really hard.
Yeah, I bet.
So, but that was it. And then the next litter arrived. Now that was, I always knew I wanted a girl, because if I hadn't had a girl, I'd have kept Arrow.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And that Paul keeps saying to me when, you know, he said, I told you we should have kept him.
Oh no.
Well, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, how do you decide which to keep?
I suppose it's kind of like when people go and see a litter from a breeder and choose which one they like best, isn't it, in a way? It's kind of a similar thing.
I don't think you can have any criteria. No. I think you have to choose the one that does it for you.
Yeah. Sometimes there's no explaining it, is there? It just kind of happens.
No, I think a lot of it is gut instinct. You speak to a lot of people and they say, I didn't choose the puppy chose me.
Yeah, that's very common.
My own experience of choosing puppies before this lot, I actually never chose any puppies. I always had to get in touch with people and they only had 1 puppy left. And I ended up with that.
Oh, wow.
So I had to choose, you know, so it was actually, no, that's not necessarily true. And one of the litters I went to, I did choose. But you don't know. No. You just don't know. With that litter, I loved all of them. They were all different colours. I wanted a bitch. Yeah. Because I knew I wanted to breed from it. Yeah. So I really love Violet too. She was amazing.
Yeah, she's cool.
I thought, I don't want another black bitch because I won't be able to tell them apart.
Yes, that's true.
Now, ironically, Violet's got a big white blaze on her.
Yeah, so you would have been able to.
And she's more distinctive than Iggy, who started off as being a very light roan and is now pretty much dark.
Yeah, funny, isn't it, how it works?
Yeah, so I think whichever one you choose will be the right dog for you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, if I'd ended up keeping Arrow, I would have loved him as much as I loved Iggy.
Yeah.
Competitively, I've got the challenge now that I've got the only blooming small dog in the litter who hasn't measured small. So, you know, but I adore her.
Yes,
because she's
her,
my
yeah,
so
exactly.
I think it's that X factor.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, you can have all these ideas in your head of what you want, and then you go and see the litter and you choose something completely different.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I think don't get bent out of shape about having, you know, you can always go. And do you know what? I hate it when people say, I want a dog of a particular colour, because for me, that is like red rag to a bull, because someone rang me up and wanted one of the puppies and they said, oh, my wife wants a golden one. And I'm just like, okay. And I thought, mentally, you're not having one of my puppies.
Yeah. Mental note.
I thought, and that, I'm sure he would. It's just like if all you're choosing on is the fact that your wife wants this colour.
Not a substantial reason for wanting one.
You know, if you said, well, I want a dog to do this, that, and the other way, it's just like colour is the least important thing.
Yeah, looks are definitely least.
It's just like, I think you have some ideas in your head, but actually be open to if you've chosen the right breeder and you've chosen the bitch and you know what the dog's going to be
flexible.
Then puppy is going to be fine.
Yeah. And like I said, it's going to be your puppy, so you're going to love it. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's pretty much it.
And you might go and see this list and you might have decided, I want people have an obsession with tan points at the moment in cockers. I don't know why. Yeah, a lot of people want tan points. You know, those little tan points.
Yeah, like the eyebrows and the feet and stuff.
Yeah. None of mine are tan points. No. If you want tan points, don't come to me for a puppy because I won't. I love roans personally.
Yes,
that's my thing. So, but if you've got an obsession with the colour, but you might go and you think, I want this, and then actually the one with the tan points is the one shrinking in the corner, and you want a bouncy puppy. That's not the one you're going to choose.
Yeah, that's it.
So the other problem you've got is that when you go and see your puppies at 4 weeks, I think you come to see them.
Yes.
You don't know what they're going to be like, really.
Yeah, they're all very similar, aren't they, in a way, at that age?
Yeah, it's really hard. I think the interesting thing when I look at the litter, most of them have turned out like I thought they were going to be. You know, in my first litter, Fanny was always the most feisty of the litter.
Yeah. And you knew that pretty much straight away.
Asked me, how do I match puppies to owners? I think, you know, as a breeder, which ones are going to be you tend to get a feeling about them.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
tend to get a feeling about them.
Mhm.
And like BB was always the most, I don't know, she was quite, I don't know, neurotic's not the right word. She was quite flighty and she was quite, she must turned out to be like that.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah,
she
so
has,
you didn't
she's
know.
not, she has. I think Fanny was always the most feisty,
Mhm.
and she was always the most sweet, loving one of the, and she is. But also, she was the first out of the box. It's really hard.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
really hard.
You can't guarantee anything, can you? So you can,
No,
all you can do is your best, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't guarantee anything.
No, definitely not. So how do you raise puppies for agility during the first 8 weeks of their lives? You kind of covered this earlier, but sort of go into a bit more detail as to what you do.
Yeah, so the most important thing for the puppies, I think, is they should be as bomb-proof as possible when they leave me.
Yes.
So I do all the socialization and conditioning. I introduce them to the ball pit. I introduce them to different surfaces. I introduce them to different things at the right time, the Hoover, take them in the car, get them as socialized as possible so that they're pretty much like, oh, nothing. I want them to be not fazed by anything. But obviously you're not doing anything agility wise. You're just doing
light
something
stuff
to bring a well-rounded puppy who's not going to be worried about things, because that's what you want.
Yeah.
The other stuff, you can put in all that, but there's still a lot that the agility homes need to do at the next phases to make sure that their dog is going to be okay at agility.
Yeah.
So mine come out with me as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I don't over-index on injections. If you do your research, and puppy culture says a lot about this, which is quite interesting, the dogs are covered by mum's immunity.
Yeah.
When they are, until they have their injections.
Yeah.
And apparently, the reason why you have 2 injections, now this is what I read, so somebody's going to come listen to this and say, oh, I don't agree with you. Well, that's fine, but this is what I've read.
Yeah.
The pups are covered by mum's immunity, and the reason you have 2 injections is the injections don't take over until mum's immunity has worn off.
Oh, I see.
So the reason you have 2 is because you don't know exactly when that happens.
Yeah, so it's kind of to cover all bases.
It is to cover all bases. Yeah. So people who get over worried about injections that's misplaced, because they are covered by mum's immunity.
Yeah.
So get your puppies out as soon as possible. Get them out in a sling, walk them around, get them out seeing stuff as soon as possible, because they need to get used to the big bad world.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I've been reading stuff about dogs, which is really, really interesting. When you think about it, dogs are born into our world. They don't understand that a table is a table.
Yeah.
They don't understand a sofa is a sofa.
To them, it's just a big scary thing that serves no purpose.
Also, I'm on. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what Arrow's like, but when Buddy was a puppy, he was on the table.
Oh, Arrow would still get on the table now if he could, yeah.
Well, because it's not a table. It's
back of the sofa.
It's a climbing.
Yeah, exactly.
Why would it? So you have to help your puppy learn about the world.
Yeah.
And you need to, otherwise it's not fair on your puppy.
Yeah.
Because
it's our world. We have to.
It's our world. They've got no idea.
Same as a child, I suppose. Do you know what I mean? You've got to teach them from scratch. Otherwise, you can't expect them to be well behaved because they don't know.
Well, if you leave food on the ground, the puppy's going to eat it.
Yeah.
Well, it's just food.
Yeah.
You leave food on the table and it hasn't learned that you don't climb on tables, it's going to eat it.
Yeah.
You can't say it should know better. Why would it know better?
Yeah, literally how.
Mum teaches it a lot of stuff. Mum teaches it about bite inhibition, and that's why you don't want to get a puppy earlier than 8 weeks.
Yes.
You really shouldn't get a puppy younger than that, because it has life lessons to learn from its mother.
Yeah.
Before it comes to you. And that's why most breeders do not let their puppies go before 8 weeks. When it gets to 8 weeks, it's usually at that critical point when it's ready to go and learn other stuff.
Yeah.
So, and then you take over as being its teacher. So you have to introduce it to all sorts of things that are going to make it well-rounded. You socialize it, you carry it around. And I get my puppies out as early as possible.
Yeah.
Because I want them to learn stuff as soon as they can.
Yeah. No, definitely. So, I've lost where we are. How long?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So, how long after giving birth can a bitch resume agility, and what is the recovery process like? So kind of shifting from puppies now to mum.
Right. Okay. So if you decide to breed from your bitch, which is pretty much the same question, isn't it? If there are people out there who I know what it's like. You just think you're just sliced bread and you want to have a puppy from it.
Yeah.
There's loads and loads of things you have to think about. I think one thing, you're going to lose that girl from agility for roughly 6 months.
Yeah.
Roughly. Roughly.
I guess it's dog dependent as well.
It's very dog dependent, but you've got the season, you've got the 63 days gestation period. So that's 2 months plus the season. So that's roughly 3 months before they give birth. And then it's roughly 3 months after they give birth.
Okay.
Your puppies, you really, right, okay, so once the puppies are weaned, you can start taking your dogs out. I mean, it's bitch dependent.
Yeah.
My girls are ready to come out for walks probably about 2 weeks after when they're ready to leave their pups, you can start taking.
So you can kind of tell when they're ready by their behaviour, I guess, as well.
Yeah, and it's bitch dependent.
Yeah,
some people don't want to leave their pups, others are quite happy.
Yeah.
Once puppies start developing claws and teeth, sometimes the mum's like, get me out of this, I need to get away.
Yeah, back to normal life.
But they're not properly weaned until they're about 6 weeks old. And at that point, you can start getting your dog back into exercise. Okay. And generally, you start with something a bit more relaxed. Like I did quite a lot of swimming.
Okay, I suppose as well, it's like if they were injured and had a break from agility, you'd have to bring them back slowly to prevent injuries. Yes. Do you know what I mean? In the same sense.
You've got to bring them back slowly. And also, if you've had a cesarean or a traumatic birth, there's been a lot going on in there.
Yeah. Definitely.
There's a lot going on in there. You don't want to make your dog jumps until you know that everything's fine.
Yeah.
So you bring it back into normal exercise first, walking, running, swimming, all that kind of stuff. And then when you bring it back to agility, which I wouldn't, you're not going to do that till at least 2 months after it's given birth. It's going to take you probably a month before you're going to be able to compete.
Yeah. So you've got to go back through the training
right back to doing low jumps, doing turns, doing all that stuff, all the stuff that's quite, and build it back up to fitness.
Yes.
So I would say you're going to lose your dog for 6 months, 3 months before and 3 months after, and that's probably a minimum.
Yeah.
And then depending on how the birth has gone, you could end up with longer up, but you don't want to rush them back into agility.
No.
Also, back into agility when they haven't done it for 3 months, they're bonkers.
Yeah, oh God. Never thought of that. Yeah.
Yeah, bonkers. They're just like, oh my God, I haven't done this for so long. I just want to go crazy.
So as well, they're probably more likely to hurt themselves if you don't take it slow because they'll be of that sort of wild nature in that environment again. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah. She was insane when she came back to agility. She was just bonkers. She was, oh my God, I've done this for such a long time.
Oh, bless her.
And, yeah, exactly. And Kima, after her second litter, took a long time to recover because in her second litter she had 6 puppies. Unfortunately, sadly, we lost one. But those puppies were big; they were 300 grams.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, 6 puppies at 300 grams. If you do the maths, that's nearly 2 kilograms of puppies.
It's a lot of puppy.
And she's a 10 kilogram dog. That's a lot of puppy.
Yeah, that is a lot of weight.
And she had quite a birth. She had quite a hard birth. The first whelping wasn't too problematic, but the second whelping started at 6 o'clock in the evening, didn't finish till 5 o'clock the following morning.
Oh God!
And then she had 6 puppies to bring up. So she took a long time to recover from that second litter.
It's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot. So it's no rules. That you just don't know.
And I guess it depends how many they have, like you said as well. How many puppies they have, how long the process is.
It's a big question you have to ask yourself if you've got a bit. Do I want this dog for agility or do I want it to breed? Because I would think that probably Kima might have been she might have achieved more in her agility career if I hadn't had 2 litters from her.
Yeah.
You've
got to choose, haven't you?
Work, you also lose 6 months of training.
Yeah.
So they're not only not working, they're not being trained.
Yeah.
So they're behind.
Progress, yeah.
Yeah. And then she did that twice.
Yeah.
So that's a whole year she's going to be, and then I think physically the second litter took a lot out of her.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she's still competing at 9 years old, but I have to remember she's 9 years old and she's had 2 litter of puppies. She's not going to be as fit and as able as another bitch that hasn't done all that puppy stuff.
Yeah, and is younger as well.
Yeah, so they're things that you don't always think about.
Yeah.
But once you think about it, it makes sense.
How old was she when she had her litters?
She was 4 and 6.
Okay. What age do they recommend? You said there's an age they recommend doing it before, isn't there?
Yeah. You wanna, if you're going to breed, you want to think about breeding ideally between 2 and 3 years old. Okay. The younger the better. Like human beings.
Yes, true.
You have a puppy when you're younger.
Yeah, that's true.
You wouldn't have a first litter after 5 years old.
No, yeah.
You could have more litters later because they're used to it, but they need to stretch it physically. They, to have their first litter younger than 5.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
There is a lot to think about.
Yeah.
So, what is your favourite thing about breeding agility dogs? I guess just dogs in general.
Yeah, so I think the favourite thing, as I said, is my relationship with the puppies. Yeah. I do love having puppies. I love it. And I'm lucky enough now that I don't work and I can enjoy it.
Yeah, true.
I think if you are thinking of breeding, don't underestimate how much time you need.
Yeah.
It's a busy job. It can be really stressful if you don't have time.
Yeah. I can't imagine someone who works like a full-time 9 to 5 doing it. And do you know what I mean? I mean, maybe it is possible, but I'm not sure.
I wouldn't start it.
No, that's what I mean.
I wouldn't start it. I think it's one of the questions you asked me later, so I don't know whether you want to cover it later off or want to cover it off now. I think the reason I wouldn't, you have to ask yourself a lot of questions about breeding. And I think the biggest question you have to ask yourself, what happens if it doesn't go according to plan?
Yeah, that is very true.
What am I going to do if my dog has to have a cesarean? What am I going to do if my dog has problems with the puppies and I have to hand rear them?
Yeah, that's true. Again, probably things people don't think could or will think wouldn't happen to them, but could very much happen to them.
It can happen. I mean, one of my puppies in the second litter, I don't know why he wasn't doing very well, but he wasn't doing very well. And because you weigh them every day for the first day. And I ended up hand feeding him for the first 4 weeks, which meant I was feeding every 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was exhausted.
Yeah. Even through the night as well, obviously.
Yeah. Set the alarm, get up, come downstairs, feed.
Wow, yeah.
And
it's a lot of commitment.
Yeah, and I remember during that point, some friends of mine had get together, and I said, I can't drive. I'm so shattered.
Yeah.
And if I had had a job, what would I have done? Yeah,
no, that's true. That's what I meant by the full time. I was like, yeah.
That was only one puppy.
Yeah.
Now, I do know a friend of mine, well, you probably all know her, Becky Hodson, her first litter. I think Jaffa had a Caesar. She had to hand rear 6 puppies.
Oh, God.
I know. Can you imagine?
I think I remember seeing that, actually.
Imagine. Yeah. I mean, what a nightmare. Now, she's lucky, well, she's fortunate that she has a job that she could say to all her students, I'm sorry, I can't train you. I've got to.
And they'll understand as well, which is nice.
Exactly. So if you are someone who has a job where you can't dedicate yourself to those puppies, what would you do? Yeah. And I'm not saying you couldn't do it, but what's your plan B?
Yeah.
What is your plan B if things don't go according to plan? I think it's one of the questions you asked is also, do you have homes for these puppies? Have people shown an interest in your dog?
Yeah.
Have people said, I'm interested in puppies? Because what happens if you have 8 puppies?
And no one wants them.
Nobody wants them.
That could happen, couldn't it?
When I bred Kima's litters, there weren't that many people breeding cockers.
Yeah.
There are now quite a few people breeding cockers.
They got more popular, aren't they?
They've got more popular and there are quite a few more people breeding them. So, do people like your cocker? Are they saying, oh, I want a puppy? Because if they're not, think twice about breeding it. Because
so true.
What would you do if you're stuck with the puppies? Are you going to be happy putting them on Pets at Home? I wouldn't.
No, definitely not.
All that stuff. I mean, I'm not saying don't do it, but ask yourself the questions. and see what your answers are before you rush into it.
Yeah. I mean, that was another one of the questions, wasn't it? I think,
I think
how far in advance do you plan litters, and do you do this by demand? So I guess the demand thing would be, you know, how much interest you've had about puppies.
Yeah, so I bred Kima the first time because I had a few people say, God, she's really lovely, your little dog. You think you're breeding her? And I was like, oh.
So it kind of made you think, yeah.
Yeah, and ironically, I had about 3 or 4 people who wanted puppies. When the puppies arrived, none of those people actually, then because of the timing, found other dogs or whatever, and then other people appeared. So it was weird.
Yeah.
So none of the people, and that's what happens when you breed. You often find people that you didn't expect, and people that you did expect drop out.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be able to roll with the punches. But I knew that he was a good little dog.
Yeah.
And people like that. And now, obviously, because there's some tufties out there and people have seen them, and now I've had people come to me and say, are you breeding again? So I do have, so people can look and go, oh, I like that one, or I don't like that one. So I think, I always plan to have a litter from, I always plan to have a litter from 2 litters from Kima because I wanted to keep one.
Yeah.
I always planned to have a bitch so I could keep Iggy. And then I always planned to have a litter from Iggy. So I've done that.
Yeah. So you did have quite a big plan in place long
time.
I
kind of like thought, well, and so I waited. Yeah, so I waited till Iggy was 3 years old when I had her first pup. And I thought, I want to have a puppy from her before it's too late. And I knew I wanted to keep one from her.
I mean, you can't do it just on demand, can you? I suppose you have to also consider how old's the dog. Do you get what I mean? Are you in the right time to do that? Do you know what I mean? So you can't just do it because a few people have said they want one.
No, you have to think about your own personal situation. You know, what you plan to do that year. And then also when they come into season, if they come into season in the middle of the summer, you know, do you want to give up your summer of agility to breed?
Yeah, that's true.
Both mine, I've had a spring litter and I've had 2 autumn litters. So, you know, the spring litter, I didn't compete the whole of that summer because Kima had puppies, and so she had puppies in April. She missed all that summer competition. With the autumn litters, Kima was back ready to compete in the spring, and Iggy had Buddy in November, so she was back ready to compete in the spring.
Yeah, that's true.
And on the other hand, it was quite nice having a litter in the spring because I could get them outside more. So, you know, when you winter litters, you've got the problem of it's chucking it down with rain and you.
Or 5 foot of snow.
Exactly.
Maybe
have
not
you
here,
got
but
in your house? Can you put a puppy run up? Where do you keep the puppies when they're born?
There's so much to think about, isn't there?
There's loads to think about.
So you don't really plan like a certain amount in advance. You kind of like you had your plan over however many years, more based on the dog's age, like how old the bitch will be at the time than anything.
You have this idea in your head, and then the other bits have to come into place. So, you know, I think one of the questions you asked me is, am I going to breed again? And if I'd had a bitch from Iggy, I would have had in my head, right, when this bitch is 3, I might breed again.
Yeah, true, yeah. So it's very age dependent.
Well, yeah, but I've got a boy, so now I've got I want to keep my line going. I like my.
100%.
I like my cockers. I'm biased, and luckily other people like my line. So, so I think right, okay, but now I've got a boy. So what am I going to do?
Yeah, see, that was the next one. How far? No, do you have any future litter plans? But I suppose with just having Buddy.
Yeah, so I haven't 100% decided. I don't think I'm going to breed Iggy again. But I haven't, never say never. There was one reason I might not breed Iggy again. One, she absolutely hated being mated.
Oh, really? Oh.
She didn't at all.
Oh, bless her.
I know, she screamed.
Oh,
it was horrible.
Okay, yeah.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Kima was just like, okay, get on with it.
Yeah.
And so I was quite happy to breed 2 litters from her, and she was a fantastic mum. Iggy was a fantastic mum too. She was a brilliant mum. So no worries on that score.
But she didn't enjoy the mating. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether that's because she didn't get to know the dog first. So she was a bit like, who the hell are you?
Yeah.
What do you think you're doing to me?
Yeah, I can imagine.
Is that why I only had 1 puppy? I don't know. I don't know why I only had 1 puppy. that the timing was right. She got mated 3 times. It was just one of those things. So anyway, I have 1 male puppy. Ideally, what I would love is somebody else. Somebody might ask me whether they can use Buddy.
True, yeah. I was going to say you could do him.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm not in charge anymore because he's a stud dog.
Yeah.
The bitch is always the one in charge.
Yes, that is true. Yeah.
So I think that will depend on whether he's a good. People will look at him and they might. I mean, I love his structure and I do like his looks. And if he ends up being a good dog, maybe someone will ask to use him.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what I might do is I might end up buying in a small bitch to be his wife.
Yeah, true. That puts you more back in control then, doesn't it, as well, because it's yours.
Yeah, but it depends what comes up. I have some cockers locally that aren't agility lines that I've seen, and I do like them. And who knows? Yeah. You can have all these ideas in your head.
You can't always plan too much, can you? Because life's so random.
Life is so random. Yeah. And it also depends, how many people who come out of the woodwork say to me, if you breed, I'd like a puppy.
Yeah, and I suppose people who are thinking about breeding from their bitch would maybe wait, to see what Buddy turns out when he's older. Do you know what I mean? So that could add a few years to it.
Absolutely, they will. And I mean, it's interesting because I had five people on the list for Iggy puppies. I had quite, and obviously they were all disappointed. Disappointed, to be fair. But they've now all gone on and got other puppies.
Yeah, true.
And they won't be wanting another cocker.
Yeah,
but then
because they've got young dogs.
Yeah, exactly. Depends how much. I mean, I don't know. When are you getting your next dog? Do you know?
Not a clue. Absolutely not a clue.
You've got your hands full at the moment with Arrow.
That's what I mean. I am very much someone who sort of, like, the thought of sort of working on multiple dogs at the same time, I feel like isn't for me. Like, I like just having one to focus on, if that makes sense, at a time.
No, I'm the same as you, but I like 2.
Yeah. See, like with Ethel, I didn't get Arrow until, Ethel, I knew for a while before I even brought Arrow out, obviously, that she'd peaked, if that makes sense, and she was, like, on her way towards retirement. So then I thought, well, there's nothing more I can do to make her any better, which is why I thought it was the right time to get Arrow, if that makes sense. And even with Arrow, like, he's doing brilliant, but there's so much more I know that he can do, obviously.
Well, you see, I'm the same as you, but I like 2. So Kima is due to retire. She's still running. Mm-hmm. She's still doing really nicely, but her times aren't there anymore. Yeah. I run her. Oh, my dog's just sneezing and walloped his head on. Can you
Bless him.
Buddy's just climbed into bed with Kima and started sneezing at her. Little boy. There, you down at my feet. Yeah, so Kima's on her. Oh, she's not on her way out. She still loves working. Yeah, but I work a lot less now.
Yeah.
I don't do all her runs. I tend to run her once, maybe twice. I do champ with her because I like the courses, not because I have any chance of winning champ anymore. Yeah. But she still made a few finals, so I like the technical courses, so I'll do that.
Yeah.
He's my top dog, and she's not even 4 yet. She's 4. Arrow. She's going to be 4.
Arrow, yeah.
Going to be 4 in October, so she's still got a lot of life to live. And I've got Bunny who's going to be coming out next year. So I can't train 3.
Yeah, no way.
I can train 3.
Yeah.
But I also can't afford to train 3.
No, that's it.
That's the problem. I think if I've got a dog, I want to put my all into it, and I can't afford to take it to all the. And I just don't. I don't know how people who've got 6 or 7 dogs manage.
No, I just don't. But similar to me, like I obviously still work part-time, so I've not got tons of money. Do you know what I mean? And the money I do have for agility, I want to use for Arrow still, if that makes sense. So a lot of it, again, is just dependent on your own situation, isn't it? And obviously being at college one day and other stuff going on, a lot of it is about thinking, I'm not in the right place to have a little puppy at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a puppy addict. I am. Yeah. I love puppies. I love puppies, and I really enjoy having them and bringing them up. But also, I have 4 dogs in my household now. Yeah. 2 puppies. I've got my old puppy who's still going strong, and I've got my older bitch Kima, and then I've got the 2 youngsters. For me, that's enough.
Yeah.
Everybody has to have their limits, and for me,
everyone's different, isn't they?
I personally feel that my dogs would suffer if I had too many because I can't give enough attention to them all.
Yeah, exactly.
And I like attention to them. In terms of planning, you know, and because I wouldn't breed for the sake of it, I would breed because either I want to have one myself or because I need to breed in order for my bitch to be ready for her to give me a puppy when I want one, which is what I did with.
Yeah,
so
that's so true.
I think, but then that, you know, everybody's different. So I think, you know, some people, there are breeders out there who breed regularly. Personally, I wouldn't want a bitch to have more than 2 litters. I think that's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough. Hard work having puppies.
Yeah, it must be.
Hard work for the dog.
Yeah.
It's hard work. You know, bringing up a lot of puppies, it's hard work. It takes it out of them. It really does.
Yeah. And all that weight they're carrying around as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can't even explain it to them either.
No, exactly. No, you can't.
So this is a bit negative, but what is your least favourite thing about breeding? If you had to choose a bad thing.
It's not negative. I think it's a very good question, actually. I think it's the worry. Okay, so 2 days before my dog's about to whelp, I think, what on earth have I done? Yeah. I just look at this poor dog who's like huge, and I think, I never had kids summer. I always thought it was going to hurt too much. And yet,
same. I'm thinking the same.
I was like, why would anyone do that to themselves? Yeah, I've asked my dog to do it. Yeah. And there's always a risk with breeding puppies.
Yeah, true.
Things can go wrong. They don't always. I'm not scaremongering, but there is a risk. Yeah. And it's quite scary and it's quite stressful. And therefore, you know, 2 days before you think, oh my God, this is what. And so the day before you're looking at your pup. And as I said, Kima's first whelping was really easy. She started on a Saturday afternoon. She was done by 7 o'clock on Saturday evening. And I was sitting down having a glass of wine with my dinner. And it was just, I lost one. I lost one. One was born dead. But I remember reading in the book of the bitch saying, if you can't accept death, don't breed. Yeah, because that's true. It's nature. So she had 5, lost 1. He never survived the birth process. In my second litter, it was really hard work. Yeah. She struggled. I'm not sure why. She had 6. They were big. I think there were so many that she couldn't physically push because she was just like, I've got so many puppies inside me, I can't. She had 6. 1 had a problem. I had to feed it. I didn't enjoy that litter as much as I enjoyed the first litter because I was so preoccupied with keeping that little puppy alive for 5 weeks, which is really sad. Yeah. So, you know, that's the least favourite thing is things can go according. I think can go wrong.
The worry of the things going wrong, I suppose, in those few days.
And the thing is also making sure you have the right homes. Yeah. It's a massive responsibility placing that dog in a home. It's a massive responsibility. You know, that little thing that you've made that dog happen. You've brought that dog to the world, and then you're now going to give it to a home. You want to make sure that's a good home. Yeah. And that's quite a lot of responsibility. So that's my least favourite thing. My most favourite thing is getting it right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Getting it right.
So rewarding.
Seeing your dog out there, doing well, feeling that you had a small part in that, because it is only a small part in that. Yeah. I mean, I'm not. You know, I've been, you know, when I see Fanny do well, I'm massively proud reader. Yeah. When I see Sparrow do well, I'm massively proud reader. I'm also massively proud reader for the pups that are not necessarily doing well at agility, but are having fun. Yeah,
exactly.
It's not just about doing well at agility. They're happy dogs. They're making, I mean, I don't see much of Violet, and Violet doesn't, but I know that Katie absolutely adores that dog. So
I suppose just seeing them sort of just be happy in those homes you chose for them is rewarding enough, if that makes sense.
Very rewarding. Massively rewarding. That's the best bit. But so the best, you always get both sides of it, don't you?
Same with anything though, isn't it? There's always a balance between them. But
there's always a balance between both. And I think the most important thing is to realise there's a balance and, you know, and think about both sides of it. Yeah. And go into it with your eyes open, basically.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So what is your best piece of advice for those on the lookout for a future agility puppy? So to sort of round it up, what is the one best thing you would advise people in that situation?
I think you need to think it through and you need to ask yourself a lot of questions. Yeah. You have to ask questions. Ask questions of yourself. Ask questions of the people who are going to give you that dog. Ask questions of people who've got the dogs, find out as much as you can.
Yeah.
So whatever decision you make, you're making with as much knowledge as you can.
Yeah. Research.
So there isn't something that's going to come up and you go, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Really,
don't want that.
When I look on, and this is not to do with agility people because they always know they're going to get a dog to do agility, but there's a Working Cocker Facebook site, I'm sure you know it, and people post on there, and you get people saying, I've got to go back to work and now I don't know what to do with my Working Cocker. And you think,
why did you not think of that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you think people would. So think about things, think it through and make a decision based on as much information as you can find.
Yeah.
And that applies to the breed of the dog, the type of the dog, all that stuff. Ask questions. Ask questions. Don't be frightened of asking questions. And if you find a breeder, don't be frightened of asking them questions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a good piece of advice.
Ask questions. Why not? Ask to see the dog, ask to see the parents, all that stuff.
And at the end of the day as well, like that breeder should be pleased you're asking those questions because it shows as well that you're doing the best you can to be a good owner. So it's not like you're going to annoy the breeder do you get what I mean? If people are like, I don't want to be too pushy or ask too many questions, like it's impossible to do that.
The only question I don't want to hear is how much is it?
Yeah.
Because
just don't say that.
No, the only reason I say that, and it's not that, is because actually that's not the most important question.
No, that should be the last one.
It should be the last one.
Yeah.
Find everything else first.
Yeah.
Because actually it will be what it will be.
Yeah, exactly.
And I remember someone asking me, how much is it? It says, I don't know if I can afford it. And you think, well, if you can't afford to buy it, can you afford to keep it?
Yeah, exactly.
Can you afford, because actually the cost of buying it is minimal.
Oh, yeah.
For what you might have to pay if you go wrong.
Exactly. Got to be prepared for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I think it's all about, do I have the space in my life? Do I have the space in my house? Do I have the space in my car? Do I have the space in my head?
Yes, that's a big one.
It is, isn't it? Like you said, you can manage one puppy.
Yeah.
You can manage training one dog. And I think that's really thoughtful.
Yeah.
You haven't got carried away and thought, I want another dog.
No.
Your dog.
Yeah.
And people don't think that's it. I can't help wanting another, and I think, but he's a puppy. If I got another puppy now, I wouldn't do right by him.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
You won't get the best out of your dog if you don't have the time and the resource.
No, there's no way. I mean, even Arrow, I'd say everything has gone into him, like since I got him, pretty much, because there was nothing more I could do with Ethel, so it has just been all him, and I think that's what it's taken to get him to the point he is at now. Do you get what I mean? To actually sort of get him from where he was to how he is now. It's been just a lot of that time and work from me that I don't personally think I could have given him if I had another one to do that with.
You've had issues with him too, haven't you? You've had broken, you've had him off the injury.
All sorts, yeah.
All sorts. So, and that stuff, you never knew that was coming, did you?
I think it was 3 things in one go. What was it? His nail he ripped off, and he fractured his tooth, and then he did his wrist. And those have been his 3 things. So hopefully he's done his 3 things and they're out the way with. But you got to prepare for those things to happen.
Well, it's interesting. Okay, so I bred Arrow.
Yeah.
So you obviously researched me, didn't you?
Yes.
Yes, exactly. And you looked at the other puppies.
Mm-hmm.
But Arrow's quite different from them, isn't he?
Oh yeah. They're all different, aren't they?
They are, and that's the thing. And I think that's what you have to think about when you get a puppy. It's like, although you can reduce the risk by researching, checking the breeder, checking the type of dog, checking this. What you don't know is all those things that you don't have an answer for, because they're within their litter of puppies. They're all different.
Oh yeah,
they are
hugely
different.
Actually. Yeah,
they're all different characters, but they all come from so genetics has quite an important part to play, but it doesn't. It's not the only. It's not the only thing.
Yeah,
I did everything I could to make Arrow as well rounded as he could, but he's got some weird quirks, hasn't he?
Yeah. Well, you can even you can do your best, and then I can do my best, but he's still going to be him, and he's still gonna, he was always gonna have those issues because that's just him. Do you know what I mean? But then you just got to deal with him, haven't you?
Yeah, because he was quite sensitive, wasn't he?
Yes.
Whereas Iggy isn't sensitive.
Yeah, that's it.
sensitive
And
at
yet
all.
they're literally siblings.
Yeah, they are, exactly. And I would say that, actually, I'm not sure. So, and out of the first litter, Misfit is incredibly sensitive. And Fanny doesn't give a shit about anything.
Yeah, that's it.
So,
crazy.
Who knew?
Yeah,
Who knew?
exactly.
I think the biggest takeaway from puppies is you can do all your research, but be prepared because you never know what's going to happen.
Or you can do, again, like I said before, do your best, prepare as much as you can, and then that's all you can do, really, I suppose.
Exactly.
So what is your best piece of advice for those wanting to breed puppies from agility? So I feel like that's not going to be a load of people, but if there is someone wanting to do what you've done, what is your one best piece?
I'll go back to ask yourself questions. Why do you want to breed?
Yeah.
Why do you want to breed? I think if I knew I could get the dog I wanted from another breeder, I would probably do that because it's the easiest option.
Yeah, that's true.
It's definitely the easiest option. If you know a breed line of dogs that you like, why would you breed yourself?
Yeah, no, that's true.
It's a lot of hassle. It's very expensive. Buddy is the most expensive puppy I've ever had.
Yeah, and he's yours.
Fine, because I got a fee. I went all the way up to the Lake District and spent 3 days up there waiting for the right time, and I could have got my timing wrong. There was all the progesterone testing beforehand. There was all the scanning, so you got all those costs. Plus the fact that I had to have all the health tests done on my bitch beforehand, the cesarean, and then so all that cost for one puppy. I mean, I reckon, how much? Yeah, he cost me more to breed than it would have cost me to go and buy him.
Yeah.
Even the others. Now, obviously, I think a cocker puppy now, talking to most people, you're going to pay between 12 and 1,500 quid for a cocker puppy. That's about right. I do ask people, for a decent cocker puppy that's been health tested, you're probably going to pay that amount, right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
If you're a breeder, let's say you have 5 puppies, and people go, "Oh, I'm going to make £6,000." Right? Okay. Your stud fee's going to be about £1,000. You're travelling up there to get them done. It's going to cost you money. All the tests is going to cost you money. You could have a cesarean that's going to cost you money. You're going to have all the bits and bobs that you need to buy. The whelping box. I buy in a pen that costs. You don't make money out of breeding litter. You make money out of breeding dogs if you breed lots
of them. Yeah.
And all those costs get spread across all the litters.
Yeah.
You don't make money out of breeding dogs. Really.
So you've got to want to do it for the right reasons.
Yeah. If you breed, then you're going to make money. If you're going to breed one litter, you're not going to. Yeah. Plus the fact that no, he comes back.
There he is.
There's my favourite.
Hi, buddy. Oh, it's beautiful.
Thank you. So I'm not listening to you. Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I don't mind that he cost me a fortune, but you have to be careful because it's not an obvious thing.
No, definitely not.
The usual thing is, if you're thinking of breeding, just ask yourself lots of questions. Ask yourself, it's worth it? Do I want to lose my bitch for that long? Could I get what I want by not having to go through this? I mean, would you think of breeding Summer? Would you?
Not, definitely not right now. Who knows where I'll end up later in life, but at the moment, never.
Do you know what? I'd always liked the idea of having puppies.
Yeah.
But it wasn't till I stopped working that
I allowed myself.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Because I was then in a position that I knew that I didn't have a job anymore. I could put a lot of work into my puppies. I also bred my cocker because at that time there weren't that many breeders out there breeding cockers.
Yeah.
Now I would think twice because I'm slightly concerned that there's a lot of cockers out there, and I would want to be sure that people want my cockers.
Yeah, not just a cocker.
No, there's nothing nicer than someone saying, "I want one of your dogs."
Yes.
But if someone comes to me and saying, "I want a cocker spaniel," you think, "Well, is that any cocker spaniel?"
Yeah.
So you've just got to, I think, ask yourself a lot of questions. And if after answering all those questions you still want to do it, go ahead. But
And be honest with them as well.
Yeah, exactly. Ask the question. You're such a softie, aren't you?
Oh, he's gorgeous. How old is he now?
How old is he now? Yeah. How old is he now? So he is 8 months.
Oh, okay.
He just started doing agility training. So we've done loads of foundation stuff, but he had his first proper training session in a group last week.
Yes, that's what I saw on Facebook.
Very exciting.
Yeah, very. Exciting. Oh, bless him.
Well, it's lovely, but because I'm very worried about starting them too young.
Yeah,
because you just
100%.
Until they're fairly formed, you just don't know what they're going to be like.
It's definitely I think I'd say it's better to be behind, if anything, than 2 ahead, if that makes sense. With training, you can always catch up with the training once they're. You've got to be aware that they don't grow up that fast. Yeah, that's so true. Can vouch for that.
This is, these are my cockers. They're big softies.
Yeah.
They're not bonkers, are they? You put them in front of me. I cannot believe how fast your Arrow is now. I'm so pleased for you.
I know. I knew he was always fast, but I didn't know he'd be this fast. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And obviously, a lot of his speeds come with confidence. That's pretty much being the ticket for him.
I think that's got a lot to be said for it. A lot of speed. No dog is intrinsically faster than another. They just have to want to go faster.
Yes, that's it. Exactly. It's all in the. Like I said, I think it's mostly in the head than structurally. Yeah. Do you get what I mean? Obviously, structurally helps, but I think a lot with anything, it's a lot mental than physical sometimes.
Well, you wouldn't actually think. Look at this thing.
Has he got his paw in his mouth? Oh, bless him.
On his mouth. He said,
big yawn.
Big yawn.
They love carrying things in their mouths, though, don't they? Arrow loves it. He never doesn't have something in his mouth.
No shoes or socks are safe in a house without a cocker in it.
No,
but
never.
Quite much, I don't know why. Genetically, mine haven't got the eating sock gene.
No, Arrow never eats them. If there's one around, well, he doesn't even do that anymore. But when he was little, he'd pick one up and carry it, but he'd never eat it. But now he's not fussed at all now. He's got his one bone and he loves it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh. Well, that is all the questions anyway.
It is. We've talked for ages.
We have. So that was my conversation with Sophie. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I think that was our longest podcast episode yet. I think me and Sophie were talking for like 2 hours, but it was so good, so helpful and so informative. I hope she managed to answer all of your questions. I'm pretty sure she did in really good detail. So thank you very much, Sophie. Go check her out. The Tufty head breeder herself. So, without further ado, you know the drill. Please follow me on all of the socials. I'll put them here on the screen on YouTube and down below in the description on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And that is pretty much it. Make sure you leave a rating or a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Hopefully 5 stars, that would mean the absolute world to me. And don't forget to use my Huel link to buy some ready-to-drink products and also get some money off if you subscribe. And come back on Wednesday if you're not too busy getting ready for KCI at 8 p.m. for another episode of the Paws in Pursuit podcast as per. Bye guys.